rise and shine. And I must say that it's a glorious day. It's going to be even a better day before this day has ended. For we will now find ourselves welcoming a new first-time caller. We're welcoming them today to the United Nations call. Later today, we will be again able to welcome new callers and returning callers as we're doing now to the United States call. But until we get to that point, we realize that as we deal with this universe in which we now live on, we must deal with things in regards to at the moment. We have to realize that the moment sees everything on the planet. The moment takes precedence over everything. It takes precedence over the past, and it also takes precedence over the future. The moment does. So at this moment, as we rise and shine, we are welcoming all the first-time callers to the United Nations call. This is the United Nations call. It is where 198 nations now are being told and commanded at the same time to come together under the 5 divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. They're being commanded to come together under one mind, one heart, and one spirit, based upon the fact that we're now reshaping, replenishing, and restoring the whole entire universe to the righteous God of the universe, that everyone will be able to live, he and she, a wholesome life. I must say that this is the greatest time for us, because even though we have some serious things going on around the universe right now, there's those of us that are still caught up in his own personal life, his own personal goals, his own personal desires. He has not yet been able to recognize that Yah, the YHWH, has commanded us to do a lot more than just deem ourselves to be the ones that's important. We are not doing the work of Yah Allah as long as we're trying to develop things for ourselves. United Nations, I rise and shine this rise and shine day, having had a very hard day prior to today. I'm just dealing with personal things based upon listening to the sounds and the cries of people around you who still have not yet recognized who you are and what you're doing. They are more concerned with what they will gain personally rather than those things that Yah Allah has commanded us to do on this planet. So we have to deal with those things in regards to that. United Nations, we rise and shine today based upon the fact of dealing with the world, the universal world, based upon the treaties in which now have been signed with all of the 198 nations. These treaties are not something that we can just call a documentation to play games with people's minds and spirits and their thoughts. These here are true documentation. Documentations now that's going to reshape and restore the entire universe. Again, I say that we are known as the Global Network Reset Restoration Network. That is what we're doing. We have to reshape, we have to replenish, we have to restore this whole entire universe. And this is what we must do. So again, as I'm welcoming all of the first-time callers to the United Nations call, I say to you, welcome. We say to you, we are asking you to remain not just on the call, but remain now gaining knowledge, researching the true knowledge that you can go out and speak to others in a manner where they will understand you. A lot of them will understand you and still not accept the fact of what you're telling them. But you must remain, if we might say, faithful to the cause. For when you're going out talking to the people, you're going out based upon the works of your hands. That is considered the works of your hands for you to spend your time drawing up documents, writing letters, and just speaking verbally to those, letting them know that the world now, the old world is ending and the new world is beginning. Just by you doing that, that's considered to be the works of your hands. There's those of you that have been asked to do other things. You may deem them to be simple, you may deem them to be nothing, but that's based upon your own ability to either believe or not to believe. So this is not something that one can convince you of. This is not something that someone needs to convince you of. You're even convinced by the persuasion of your own heart, by the renewing of your own mind. These things is the only way you're going to truly know that what we're doing and what you're doing is real. And if you're asking someone to prove that to you, you've already lost the battle. So as we rise and shine and welcoming you, the first-time callers to this call, I want to welcome back all the old callers, if we might call you that now. And we don't say old in a disrespectful manner. For the matter of fact, we believe that just like wine, the older you become, the more refined you become. And not only is it that, but we believe that you start not just gaining knowledge, but you start gaining some wisdom based upon that fact. So we like to welcome you back at this moment. Right now, there's so much that's going on around the universe and planet. I would have to tell you that it all is falling on one shoulder. It says that when he comes back, that the weight of the world shall be upon his shoulders and the government as well. That is a position that has been well accepted. Even though sometimes it gets very, very hard. It makes you weak. It makes one very weak, especially when you're dealing with things around you that should not be happening. But you have to force yourself to realize that if Allah had not put you in that position, then you would not have to be there. But at the same time, if he had put you in that position, it's for a more glorious purpose for himself. And you must recognize that he comes first, even before thyself. This has been recognized on my part, and I would like to thank the United Nations for their participation. When I say that, I look to my big brother that I consider him to be right now. I know you're listening to me. I'm talking to you, my dear brother, Prime Minister of what I call the true reunion. I call it the true union of the Republic of what I know it to be the Soviet Union. I look to you as a big brother based upon the fact that I do know that we share the same mind, heart, and spirit of making sure that all men are able to worship on his own vine and victory. I know that we share the same feeling that all men should be able to live this life and be able to pursue the happiness in which he's trying to pursue. I know that we share the same mind and the heart and spirit that we people, we all were created equal. And we were created equal by a creator by the name of Yah, the YHWH. We know that we were created by him to be equal. And because of that, I thank you for your tireless work. I know that there's times now that you're dealing with personal situations as well, because we share a few of those things from time to time. Even the media has them, and they even try to destroy us based upon who we are and where we're headed based upon those things. But you and I, we share a true understanding that these are the things that one must go through just to be a true follower of the Most High, the YHWH. So I thank you, my brother. And even though I know now that there's been attempts on your life in which now the media is beginning to print, I say to those out there that's attempting or to even try to harm you, they must remember that Yah himself has already told them that for them to try to harm one hair on the head of those in whom my Father has truly called to protect the people, they themselves will be harmed in likewise manner, even much more so. They will be placed in a fiery pit where they will have no eternal life, nothing more but eternal death. And the pain in which they will feel will never end. It will cease to end. The reason I'm saying this, because I need you to know, my big brother, that you and I, we will still complete this task of freeing all of the people under the 5 divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Not only will we free them, but we will make sure that they all come together under one mind, one heart, and one spirit. And as I speak not only just to you, my dear beloved brother, whom I consider to be the giant bear of the world. I speak to my brother, the Leopard, as well, and I say to him that we have been encased in this spirit of the Most High, whether we call him Buddha, or whether we call him Yah, or whether we call him Allah, or whether we call him Tabuka. We are all encased in this one spirit of truth. And this spirit will carry us far beyond the stars. Yes, some of us have already been to the 7 heavens. But I myself, I have still the truth lying in my hands of the 14 keys of the 7 heavens. You already know there are 2 keys per heaven. Thereby, there's one for the front door and one for the back door. I am only the doorkeeper. I can only enter the front door to open it for others. I can only enter the back door for only, again, to open it for others. For I will remain outside the doors until all has been completed. And then I know for a fact that even if the keys should slip from my hands and end up in hell again, my Father will allow me to go once again and retrieve those keys, from which fires no one can go except the Son of Man. I thank you for the privilege, for allowing me to be able to serve the people once again. And I am talking to my Father, whom I know hear me every day. He hears my every cry. He pities my every groan. And long as I live, I will haste unto his throne. This is who I truly am. So I say to you, dear bear, let's get it done. Let's finish the course. I'm saying to all the people out there, there's a lot that's going on right now in this universe. Yes, the wars, they're beginning to get much more fiercer. They're getting fiercer by the minute, by the second. Yes, you have commanders that's speaking to one another as if though they're going to work together when they know they're about to kindle another fierce battle against one another. Remember, it is said in the book of Isaiah, has told you already, when they say peace, peace, you have to take notice, because there shall be war and calamity all over the universe. And that is what's taking place right now. So you can deem that my brother Isaiah had told you the truth, as he was a prophet of the old days. Yes, we're moving right now into a time when all men must stand up and be recognized. They must identify themselves, index themselves. They must index themselves up under the new treaty, the treaty known as the World Treaty. They must index themselves under the treaty that is known as the Covenant Treaty. They must also make sure that these treaties that they're putting themselves under is the one that is covered by the World Constitution, which we're now sending out, and all the nations are beginning now to read them. All nations are beginning to understand exactly what they mean and what they represent for them. United Nations. We are a united people based on the fact that we do not fight in uniforms of the NATO. We do not even fight in the United Nations uniform of the so-called black and tan uniforms in which they wear. We are not those United Nations. We are not those NATO soldiers. We are the true soldiers of the mighty, high YHWH. We are those that have come together under the five divine principles of this universe of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We are the ones, we are the true soldiers of the one mind and one heart and one spirit, which we know will overtake all evil, and that will be nothing but righteous when we are done. Yes, as we move forward, we are looking into major situations right now. I want to thank you, China. I call you, again, my big brother, the Leopard. I want to thank you for allowing us to have given you your true treaty of peace, your true treaty of peace and friendship. I want you to remain doing what you're doing. That's your purpose in life. That is what you was created to do. You were set there as from sea to China's sea, to protect the seas. And we ask you to maintain your level of protection of the seas. We will back you, just as we have done to this point. And you can believe that the Security Council that is tied to you will be just as secure as it has always been when waiting for the proper moment for the leopard to come out of the jungle and begin to help us devour this so-called mighty dragon. So we thank you. We ask you to keep your position. And at the same time, as I look to the other side of this known vicious, huge, yes, humongous jungle, I see you, my dear brother lion. I see your head, but I can hear your roar much louder. So even when I cannot see you, I can hear you. And I do know that these are the cries of the people. For I know now that the cries of the people are great, and I can hear this vicious roar, that this lion will come out, and this lion will also help us devour this one which calls himself the dragon. We know for a fact that he has told the people that his head was once wounded, and now it has been healed. We know this is a lie, and this lie has come from the pit of hell. I'm going to say to you, dear United Nations, I'm rising and shining this day. Yes, I am a little bit less on some of the paperwork in which I had prepared for you. For it has been held up by others, but I do believe in the spirit of Allah. They will release it based upon the fact that we must move forward. This is something that must be completed in the name of Allah, and no one will be able to hinder it. We know that as we work forward, we're going forward for a new world. I myself, I lie awake. I try to get time to sleep during the day every now and then. But then, you know, your ears are always burning with others that they even will come and sit down, and some of them even want to lie beside you with the same vicious tongue in which you're trying to prevent all over the universe. So these are the times in which you have to really create another moment in time where you find yourself stepping outside of your body only to maintain a proper connection with the YHWH. These things the Son of Man has always been able to do and will always do. I say to you that I will accept the invitations in which I have been receiving from all of you nations. UK, I love you, my brothers and sisters. And very shortly, yes, I will walk in your nation. I now have come to a point in this life that I must hurry up and hasten not to go to you. I must come there, for I know that my final place is to be in the Vatican. I must get there that I might let my brothers and sisters know at the Vatican that we must do the will of the Most High. We must feed his people. We must feed his children, his babies. We must make sure that we maintain a level of uplifting the fallen humanity. We must uplift all of those now that has been bound to this earth by these earthly lives and these earthly conditions in which they have deemed to be the greatest so-called dream of an American dream, which has never been no more than what El Shabazz had told them, American nightmare. There has been men that have come forward, United Nations, that have spoken these words that since that time they have been ostracized, they have been expelled, and they have been put in solitude because they uttered these words in which I'm saying now. But yes, the United States has become nothing more than a major nightmare, and it has no more of a dream than one who has been captured in a dream, and now he's being chased by the big bad wolf, and now he cannot wake up just out of the dream, so the wolf will at least disappear through the ability to be able to open his eyes and see that which he cannot see, and open his ears and hear those things in which he cannot hear. He cannot find himself now being able to do this, to escape even his dream of the big bad wolf chasing him. Stay with me. Don't leave me now, because I'm trying to get to a point here where I can get over there in your area, United Nations. I know that you deem that when I come there, that will be blessings bestowed upon you, and I would tell you it will be. For some strange reason, it seems that you over there are much more convinced to know who I am than those in my own country. Those that are in my own house have not yet been convinced. So I respect the fact that you are just waiting for my arrival. And even though some are saying I'm coming from the west, because I have been from the east, as the master said, he left the east going west. And you know for a fact that there will come a time, as he has left the east and went to the west, he must come back through the east gate once again. And there you will see me coming through the eastern gate for the simple fact that I promised it. My father promised it. And if my father promised it, I must comply. These are the things in which must happen. Yes. And even though I'm saddened sometimes to know that I have to leave my people, I have to realize that even my father, Abraham, he was told by my father, whom is telling me now, that I must get from amongst my people, and I must go to another land. This land, he says, he will bless all people, to include mine. I'm saddened, but it is true. I must get prepared to do a lot of things. We have a great war going on. Yes, sometimes I look in the mirror and I see my face as I see now, where I'm shedding this water in which is uncontrollable. But at the same time, I know that there's others that are shedding the same water because they know it is true just as I do. We are gathered together, one mind and one heart and one spirit, each given moment, that we might be able to save those that have been exiled, those that have been kidnapped and placed in these things that we call human slave camps. Yes, these human slave camps sometimes are very, very cruel to them. For even though a lot of them are being captured as young as the age of 3 months, they are being placed in these camps where they will be raised to become sex slaves. They will become, growing up, to become those that will become housekeepers only for the wicked. They will be raised to become those that will become evil leaders for those that call themselves superpowers. But we deem it necessary to protect them and to, at the same time, rescue them from those things that have been a tyranny or a tyranny to them. We understand that they, too, have been taught to be the way they are, rather than this being of their blood, DNA, and RNA, but it has been taught to them by those who have oppressed them. Stay with me just a little while longer. You have to understand every now and then, as the water flows, I realize that the body must grow, and that I will always allow it to happen. So stay with me just for a brief moment, United Nations. We will get there. As we go now through the battles of watching those that are sitting now on the ocean front, we are slowly arriving upon a day of September 11th, 2016. We understand that always during that time something is lurking close by. If not, we have the giant trying to tear down one of our major towers. Stay with me, because the giant in the past has been able to tear down twin towers, those that look the same, but we call them the Ibejis. Anything that was known as a twin was known to us as an Ibeji. Back during the days of old in the jungles of Africa, they would have told you that an Ibeji was an Ilangi kid. In other words, they would say that one of those children would have had to be an evil one, because that would not have been Sabuka sending two that looked the same, two that had the same heart, that two was going to have the same desire. And even though during Sabuka's time, he even fashioned them that one would have a smiley face and the other one would have a frowny face. This was to even prove to the generation that was to come that one of them would have been of an evil intent, of a bad heart. I say the twin towers are no longer standing, as was said in the book of Isaiah, that they would come down. He says in Isaiah, once these towers would come down, then there would be major things that would happen that would bring the people out of bondage into freedom. I say, these times are here. Yes, the word is true. And for those who are still denying the fact that you understand these words, then I say let you be the ruler of all. For it's obvious that you do not know how to follow the truth. Truth, peace, freedom, and justice will still reign. And one mind and one heart and one spirit will not be killed by your ignorance. Stay with me just a little while long. This is not to attack you. This is to inform you that your world is done and the evil intent in which you have, no matter who you are, it will be destroyed, just as you will be destroyed. As we move forward, there is so much world history that has been given to the people that was false. And now it, too, has come to the light. And even though I look at my brothers in what I call the Caucasoid world, where you have drawn up paperwork in which you have placed into your so-called archive that you know has no truth to it. You have even went to the extent of altering what we call the Holy Scriptures, knowing that it has no truth. You have went to the extent of even writing up your dictionaries, Webster and Funkin Wagner. You have wrote up all of these documents only to place words with your own meaning rather than the meaning in which were originally given to those words. Stay with me, because we have to understand just this rise and shine day, I had to deal with a method and a moment of just dealing with the word ruddy. Ruddy does not mean red. Ruddy comes from something that is mixed with water and it makes up ruddy muddy. That's where it comes from. And the mud once and will always be of a dark nature, not red. This is something that you created and you placed in your so-called Webster Dictionary of Understanding. And Webster himself is probably still turning in his grave trying to figure out exactly what the words meant in regards to the Most High, YHWH, because he didn't truly get to ever know Yah for himself. He will, because he too will be raised up in the last days as we are in right now. And he will give an account to the people that I only wrote those things that I believe, not those things that I knew. And my knowledge will never be greater than that of the YHWH, who has all wisdom to even be able to give the breadth of knowledge to mankind. With me, so you know who you're listening to, so you won't confuse yourself anymore. Neither will you confuse others. Because as you recognize yourself in the mirror, you will then be able to look at others and see your reflection in them. And then you'll know that you too are only a creature and not the creator. Stay with me. Don't leave me now. We're moving forward. And we have the banking system, in which I say again, I am not the numbers, I am the letters. The number will do just as he has been commanded by the Father as I have. We will too become one once again. But we both must do our job. We must do what the Yah has sent us to do. We must do what Allah has sent us to do. And I do deem as my love and my truth and my peace, my freedom and my justice hinges upon this, that he and I will remain brothers always. And he will be the numbers and I will remain the letters. and the letters, it too will become flesh, and it will dwell among the both of us. And we all will live together and be happily ever after. But until then, I must still work. I must still do my job as the letters. And I must inform man. I must redeem mankind. I have put forth now all the documents to redeem all mankind on this planet. I will remain right there. I have given my blood. I will continually to give my blood for the living of mankind. This is why I was created. Again, I must repeat to you, United Nations, because you are already aware, and it's already obvious that you believe that I was not chosen. I was not called to do what I'm doing. I was created to do what I'm doing. It's a difference. Many are called, few are chosen. I'm none of them. I was created by the YHWH as the HILH to do what he had created me to do. And this I will do. As I am the HILH, there is no other. Before the HILH, there were none. After the HILH, there will be none. I am the first of it, and I will be the last of it. I am the beginning of it. I will be the ending of it. That is a fact. And those who deem that I'm saying I'm God, you're wrong. You just don't understand that I am in him and he's in me. Once you get to that point, then you'll understand exactly who is who and what is what. Then you'll be able to know yourself. You can't even know yourself because you're too busy trying to get to know who I am. Let not your heart be troubled. For if you believe in the one you keep calling Jesus the Christ, you'll believe also in me. For in my Father's house there are many mansions. And if it was not so, I would not have told you. You need to understand what I'm saying to you so you won't be so quick to run out and think that you have all of the answers. Stay with me. Don't leave me. My dear brother, man, I'm talking to you. We must complete the process of bringing mankind back to the true life of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. My dear big brother, the Leopard, I'm talking to you. We must remain bringing mankind back to the five divine principles of the universe. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I'm talking to you, my big brother Lion. I need you to realize that even though the combined of all of the muscles that you could put together in Iran, and Iraq, and Germany, and Africa, all the muscles that you can put together, we must still remember that we must bring the wholesome of the world back with the five divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And all of us, as we destroy the dragon, we must realize that all of us then will be created three living beasts, and we will be joined by the other living creature. That will be four of us. We understand that out of the dragon, we will save the people, and those people will become the fourth living creature. And those four living creatures, they will stand before the almighty YHWH. And as his son sit on the throne to judge the universe, we will be singing a song, and all of the elders will be there, and they will make sure that everything that we have done was in order, decent and in order. We will make sure that we once again sit down and count up the cost. We will make sure that everything will be line upon line and precept upon precept. This is the world in which I am now, making sure that I fix before my Father, the YHWH. Meantime, there's a lot more that I must talk about, but I had to get this off my Father's head and into the minds of the others. This is what he's spoken to me. So as I walk around now, robed in what I need to be in, just that I might be able to hear him as well. For yes, there is moments like this that brings one to understanding of why he was created. It brings him to a moment to know that the creation of mankind will always exist. And even given the privilege to come in the manner of a man with the spirit in which I've come in, I can never not exist. For when was it? The time was, the time was not. I must take a break.